Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. We have fall leaves here on my desk today. Fall is winding down. It is, if you're here in the US or in the northern hemisphere, fall is probably winding down for you too, but there's still a lot of fall leaves out there. Here in Oregon, we're really not known, especially in the city, for our spectacular fall seasons. I mean, we're not Vermont or anything. But I have to say, we've had a really nice fall color season this year, and every walk I have in the neighborhood, it's like I'm 10 years old. I'm coming home with leaves. Oh, I have to get that one. I've always got a handful of leaves when I come in. And I've been looking for ways to craft with them. And I've found several ways to craft with them that are perfect for our junk journals. And we're just going to get to it. The first thing I want to mention, though, is that you notice how nice and flat this leaf is. And I'm not really good at my leaf identification. So I'm sorry, I cannot tell you what species I have here. But I do have one of those apps that you can scan it. And then I looked up a few species and I put Post-it notes on my leaves so I could identify them. And invariably the Post-it notes fell off. So anyway, we're just going to focus on the crafting part today. So notice how really nice and flat this is. Notice how nice and not flat this one is. This is one because it was damp when I brought it in and I didn't get it pressed right away. It's, this is lovely. I like having it sit around on my desk, but it's not the best for crafting. If we're looking at leaves as future craft supplies, what we need is to put it under something heavy. And look at how big this is. So I have it upside down. This is my largest book in the Kenline library. And I stick leaves in here. Anytime I need to press something, I put in this book. And I do it right away. This is not very attractive for you to look at. So we're just going to pull out a few leaves. You can see this is a book that is falling apart. One of my neighbors called me and had another neighbor that was getting rid of old books. And this is perfect for a weight. And there's some cool stuff in here, but I also have all kinds of leaves. So I'm going to take a few out and we'll just kind of see how they work. Here's some red ones, and some of these have actually been in here for quite a while. Boy, there's some interesting stuff in here. These were a little bit soggy when I brought them in, so I put them between some pieces of paper towel. These are definitely going to get us through today. I forgot, what is this? Okay, these are kind of falling apart. I have more in here, but I'm going to set my book aside with a giant thump. And we're just going to see what we can do with these. Some of them are going to be crumbly and not that good to use, but some of them are going to be great. So I have like 5 or 6 different ways of using leaves that I think are going to be interesting to you. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first is a very simple decoupage. And I'm going to just take this little piece of coffee stained paper, and it could be a little something to put in a pocket. It could be something to stitch in a signature of a book. I just want to affix let's just say this leaf onto this page, and we're just going to use a little bit of Mod Podge. This is Mod Podge in here that I put into a little home little dish soap dispenser that I cleaned out because it's easier for me to deal with these small amounts of Mod Podge than it is my big jar of it. So I'm just putting a thin coat of Mod Podge here that I'm applying with my little silicone spreader because I was going to get a little bit messy today. That's why I covered my work surface with this brown paper. And I'm just, once that Mod Podge is there, I'm just going to lay this flattened leaf there. And because I have pressed it, we're not going to have a bunch of bumpety parts. here. And I've been doing this. I actually started doing some experimenting with this stuff earlier in the fall. And so I have a few pieces that have, I won't say they've stood the test of time because it's only been, you know, maybe a month or so for some of them, but I'm secure enough in the results that I think they're not going to be crumbling all over everything else in my craft room. Just make certain if you have a little part that's sticking up, just slide a little extra Mod Podge under there. And that is all there is to this. Now, before you do anything else with it, you're really going to want to let it dry. So I'm going to set this aside, put it back here. I'm gonna wipe off my little silicone applicator, which I find very handy for spreading Mod Podge or any other kind of decoupage medium. And I'm gonna bring in, well, here's a couple of others that I have done recently. Here's one on plain paper, and here is one on some paper from a blank journal that has the little dots. I think this is really pretty. These could be, you know, you could continue to decorate it and make it into a journal card. But what I had in mind for this plain one was to do some stamping around it. And I've done this a couple times and I like my results. So I'm going to pull in, make sure I'm in frame here. Yeah, pull in my Stays On ink, and the reason I'm using Stays On is that is good to use on glossy surfaces. The Mod Podge is matte, so it's not terribly glossy, but it's slick enough that I really don't think my pigment ink or my dye-based ink is going to be my best choice for this particular part of the project. So I'm just going to do some stamping around here. I've used this a lot. These are just something weird I got online, a whole bunch of weird little miniature businessy looking sorts of things, but you know, things that make a nice background. And I'm going to mask off this part of the leaf and just do some background stamping. Thing with these faux scripts, it's a little hard to tell what side is which end is up and down. Isn't that life sometimes? Which end is up, which end is down? But if it's hard for us to tell, it would be hard for anybody else to tell too. A person riding by on a horse wouldn't be able to detect anything wrong. Look how this is starting to shape up already. Let's put this here. These two little script pieces are nice. What else can we put here? Well, look, I have all kinds of options. Let's pick out one of our smaller ones. Perhaps this one that has some sort of a business chart on it. It's better. Bring in this mask. It's just amazing how just a little bit of stamping around the edge creates a really intriguing background. And I love the idea. Oh, see, I got a little bit on the leaf there. That Stays On is going to be true to its name. It's going to stay on. I'm not going to worry about that, but I should be a little more careful with my mask. Let's put one down here. I'm not going to have a real precise mask here, but having torn it in a little bit of a curve will help. Here we are. And let's come in with our somewhat smaller ones. This one's tiny. I think I want to mask again because I don't want to, I want to have these stamps be pretty true to the up and down rather than being every which way. Yeah, that mask worked a little bit better. There we are. You are getting the idea. This one, it won't matter if I go on the, well, I say that and then I want to mask off the stem so that I'm not stamping on it. There we are. And let's come in with just a little bit more. And down here as well. Again with the mask, and there. I think you get this idea, but isn't that an attractive background? You could use anything. I like using the smaller things so that they provide a nice contrast for this beautiful focal point. One thing I was trying earlier is I decided to come around the edges with pinking shears. Yes, I'm using pinking shears on paper. This is something my dear mother would not have approved of. But since I don't have a lot of fabric that I use pinking shears for, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And it's going to give just a little bit of an intriguing edge that contrasts nicely with that beautiful red leaf. So there is a little piece that can be a little journal card, it can be a little booklet, I can put some pages on the inside. Here is one that I did earlier in almost exactly the same fashion. The Mod Podge kind of left a little bit of a milky film on this one, and this one did not. So it just is going to depend on the nature of your leaf. Like in nature, things are going to turn out differently. But here's just a cute little booklet that I can tuck into a pocket. I'm not certain what this one is going to become, but it's going to be something cute. Let me ink the edges, because that does, yeah, that makes a difference. That really finishes things off. And a stitched edge would be really nice on this as well. All right, we have a lot more leaves to get to. So that is the first one, just a simple decoupage, applying to a sheet of plain paper with some stamping as the background. The next thing I'd like to invite us to try is let's get another one of these leaves, and let's bring in some acrylic markers. I have really been enjoying my acrylic markers lately, and you've seen me use them several times. This is a white one, and then these are inexpensive. These are not artist grade by any means, but they were. I've found I've really been using them, particularly when I'm working on things for a whimsical journal, because they do add a touch of whimsy. So let's begin. Let's use, what we're going to do is we're going to draw, but it's not scary drawing. It's simple drawing. Is this one flat enough? It's got a little bit of wrinkling there. Maybe nope, I'm going to stick with this one because I like the size of it. I think I'm going to pull out a few colors that would be super unexpected on a leaf, because that's one of the marks of of whimsy. So we're gonna go just really kind of neon. Colors that I don't normally do, but we can push ourselves. There's plenty of leaves out there. If I don't like how it looks, I'm not going to worry about it because, again, many more leaves where that came from. So this is very simple drawing. What we're basically going to be doing with this acrylic paint pen is to be tracing along the existing veins of the leaf. So nature has indeed done the artistry for us already. That one didn't come out quite as smooth as they sometimes do because I do have a little wrinkling, but I'm going to be okay with that. And then within the little sections that we've created with this drawing, we're going to do a little mark making. I always admire the artists that really just get in there and do all kinds of interesting mark making. And I have never been one who has been confident at doing that, but when you're just sort of doodling on leaves, it's kind of amazing what you can let yourself do. This neon is not quite as opaque as I would like, probably due to the inexpensive nature of the supplies. I have found with these, they have one round, kind of a large end, and it's really easy just to pounce that large end and get these dots. Now I should remember not to do them randomly and not in rows. I kind of started with rows down there, and I want them to look sort of uneven. And we're just going to go into different sections that we've created by tracing on those veins. Now let's try something different. Maybe we can do little swirls. Let's see how this pink will turn out. Nope, that's going to be not very bright. Will this coral turn out any better? It does take a little while to dry. Yeah, this coral turns out a little bit more bright. I had so much fun with my grandson doing these drawn leaves, and I'm going to show you some of his in a couple of minutes. He thought that was really interesting to be able to doodle on an actual leaf. Oh, I'm making a hole in that crispy area. And sometimes that happens. I'll tell you what is, I know, going to turn out nice and bright is this white acrylic marker. And this one I'm going to do more dots. Those are nice and bright. Isn't this unexpected? It is super fun to do. Could you use other kinds of paint? I don't see why you couldn't use regular acrylic paint. I didn't actually try it, but give that a try if you feel like it. I mean, again, these are free art supplies. There's our little whimsical leaf. Now, what are we going to do with this whimsical leaf? Well, there's all different kinds of things to do that we can do. We could, just like we did with something like this, we could decoupage it onto onto a sheet of paper, and once this paint is dry, it does decoupage nicely. Here is one. This is decoupage with some kind of a high gloss, but here's one I did, and I can cut this down and use it as a pocket, put it on something more sturdy for a journal card. But the decoupage goes right on top of that painted surface without smearing it one bit. There is a little bit smearing here, but that's smeared not because of the decoupage, but because I put my finger in it before it was dry. So I'm going to let this one dry, and I'm going to bring in one that I did a little bit earlier. And the stem is kind of fragile, so I'm going to be careful with that. And we're going to laminate this. Now, I don't mean thermal or heat-based laminating. I mean using this laminated, this self-stick, peel and stick lamination. I have had this, I bet I've had this 10, 12 years. And I'm sharing it not so you go out and buy things, because it's absolutely not necessary. A lot of people have had good luck ironing. Maybe you did this when you were a kid. I did. Ironing leaves between sheets of wax paper. I have not had good luck in recent years with that. I've used wax paper for other crafting things, but for the leaf encasement, it hasn't worked that well for me. Your mileage may vary, but I did happen to have this. If you wanted to get some, it's not very expensive, but again, please use what you have. I think that's very important, to use what you have. Not that we don't occasionally treat ourselves to craft supplies, particularly if we run across them in thrift stores, but I just don't want you to think you have to buy things. That's not what this channel is about. But let's laminate this, since I have these lamination sheets, and that's going to be okay. So I've cut this off, and I can't even remember why I got this to begin with. It's been hanging around in my cabinet for year after year after year. I'm trying to think if I even somehow it makes me think I've had it. I moved it from New York when we came out here 10 years ago, which might be why it's a little bit hard to peel this backing paper off. Oh, I think I'm getting there. I am getting there. There we go. So this is literally, see, it says right there, peel and stick. We are going to peel. The sticky side is up, and that little mark is on my background paper, and I'm just going to lay this little leaf right here. I'm going to gently press it down. It's honestly not terribly sticky. It's not as sticky as double-sided tape, but it's sticky enough that it's going to stick to itself when we encase it. Now, looks like I have a little bit of schmutz, but that's on the back there. Okay. Is that on the back? No, that was on the front. And that's on the back. Okay. I just don't want to encase lots of schmutz in here if I don't have to. There we go. So it's sticking to the surface, and I will just fold this over like this, getting it as close to being a right angle as I can. Obviously, I did not make it completely at a right angle, so I've got a little stickiness on either side, but that's all right. I can trim that off. So I'm sorry for this shine. I know you're going to be getting some glare. Let me see if I can tilt this there. How about that? That is, it's a little specimen card, actually, is what it is. You can decorate the back as well, but I wanted to get right to doing this one to show you. What is a fun thing you can do with this? You can trim it up. These make really cute, just little fun things to pop in a junk journal pocket. But they also make like little bookmarks. They would be super for a bookmark. Here is a leaf, the one that my grandson did a few days ago, with gold in the background and blue dots. And that's what it looks like in nature, and this is what it looks like after an art session with Grandma. And I actually stitched around the edge and pinked that and put a little grommet and a little tag on it. So I could paste some journal spot there if I wanted to, or I could just leave it like it is as something delightful to find in a junk journal. In a junk journal pocket. So this is another way to use this. I think this is going to be adorable. I think I might do the stitching thing and make this into a little bit of a bookmark as well. So anyway, how cute do these exuberantly painted leaves look, especially encased in lamination? Because these are obviously more contemporary looking than something like this. Okay, what if you did not want to have the actual leaf be part of your project, but you wanted to preserve the essence of the leaf? Well, we have all done as kids, I think, leaf rubbings. And guess what? That process still works. If you have a very thin sheet of paper, and this is a thin piece of packing paper, you can take any leaf. Yeah, let's see how. Nope, I like these. We'll do a couple. And take one of your leaves, and they're all going to react a little bit differently. Actually, I do think I am going to go back to that one because I want to see how that works. Just put it underneath a sheet of paper that you want to use for some sort of a project. And these can go onto a pocket, they can go on the corner of a page, but I just want to show you the process here. I'm taking some distress ink. You could go back to, what you did in the second grade and use crayons as well if you wish to. I'm going to kind of hold the leaf in place because I can feel the base of that stem there. Well, I'm really shadowy here today, aren't I? I think I don't have the natural light coming in like I usually do. Anyway, I'm just going to drag here. This is not coming out great because my paper is a little bit crumply. So I think I'm going to get a smoother sheet of paper because you can see how I did not have great results with this. Do I have some smoother paper around here? I have some drawing paper here. Let's try one of these leaves. And I'm going to have what I think I think this is going to be the back side, where those veins are a little more prominent. Let's try this drawing paper. It may or may not work. There we go. It's a very abstract sort of look. Let's try a different one. So again, it almost looks like it's a painting that's running in the rain, doesn't it? Let's try one of these. Which one is the most bumpety side? I think this is the bumpety side. Should we try a different color? Try my vintage photo. This paper's kind of curling up. All right. Not very distinct, but you could work this into a collage or in the corner of a page, and it would be kind of like a little stencil there. So many different ways to use our fall leaves. Here is, I've got to do something to preserve this one because this is one that my grandson he's 8, was so excited about because he painted it all gold and then he did the veins and he just had a great time with that. Anyway, get out your markers, get out your leaves, get out your Mod Podge, get out your stamps, and have yourself just a really wonderful time using fall leaves in your craft projects. They're great for a junk journal. They're free craft supplies, and they help you celebrate nature. See you soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.